from Inky and Scrappy. Welcome back to all of my subscribers. If you are new here, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel grow. So I am using a new to me paper pack from Echo Park Papers called Forward with Faith. I picked it up at Tuesday morning the other week. I needed to make my youngest a confirmation card, and I was struggling as to where to go with this one. And so I picked up the paper pack, even though it's got a lot of pinks in it, and figured I would come up with something to make him a confirmation style card. So there was the little 4x4 panels in there, or sheet with, the 4x4 cutouts. And so the one kind of inspired me to dig out my Tim Holtz, I think it's like Robot Builder or something like that, for the light bulbs. I knew I had a light bulb die cut, and so I was like, I just had to find it. So figuring out what to use for the actual light bulb base on this one, because it's not going to look like a robot, I had to play with the pieces that were included in that die set to kind of come up with something that was going to work. So I ended up taking the one that is, I think it's got like a little gauge on it, and I will use the two pieces on the top, or the one piece that's kind of got cutouts, and then those 4 little dash lines I will use for my light bulb little light bright thingies, like to show that the light bulb is lit up. And of course, because I'm going to do a light up one, I'm going to do 2 for you today. So one is a non-light up one, just because it will help me with the layout and such that I will need for my actual lit up one. I don't pre-do anything when it comes to working through my process. This is about as pre-doing anything as I get. So making a card first and then copying mostly the design to make my light up one, because then I don't feel like I'm wasting time. I don't know. I did use the filament die from that set for the filament in my light bulb. Of course, that light bulb is cut from some yellow glitter cardstock, and then some silver Tim Holtz cardstock for that filament. I'm just gonna futz around with it a little bit, because those, it's super, shall I say dainty? It's fine and thin, and yeah, my pork chop fingers don't always have a good time with that stuff. And of course, I needed to add some dimension to this one, because there's not a whole lot going on for it besides that light bulb. We're going to add that one onto the black cardstock panel here. I don't remember what my cardstock panel is. Let me think. So my church panel here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then the light bulb panel, I want to say it was about 3 inches wide by, let's see, that'd be 4 1/4 off. So it'd be 4 1/4 inches long, maybe. Don't quote me on any of that. I'm just guessing. So I needed to figure out my little base on my traditional style light bulb here. So I'm bringing in a stitched rectangle die from Lawn Fawn. I'm not sure which stack it comes from, but it's one of those. And so I probably could have saved myself some time by just taking that one and running it through a embossing folder that maybe had stripes or lines on it. I didn't think of it until just now while I was doing the voiceover, but it's a possibility. But because I wanted it to kind of have that light bulb base look where it has the valleys and the mountains, I kind of end up switching up what I'd originally planned here. So I'm taking that larger outside piece of that die, and I was going to do 3 of them all the way down. And then I decided, I really kind of wanted that valley in the middle, so it actually looked like a light bulb base. And so I found if I ditched the frame for the middle one, I could get them to fit on my little panel here a whole lot better. And then I will just line those up, and then I will tuck in the 2 fill-ins here that go inside those frames as well. And then it gives me that light bulb base look. So a little bit of fussy work with you know, the die cuts and such, but it ended up turning out really cute. And it, you know, helps me to figure out how I'm going to do my other one. So I will speed through this one fairly quickly, I think. I can't promise you that I speed through it fairly quickly. And then I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape to the bottom portion there. And then I did add a little piece to the side on the one side. The other side was like not enough real estate to do it, and I probably wouldn't have had to do it on the other side either, especially after I kind of put it down and realized that, oh, it's kind of cool to go. So I'm going to put that on there, make it stick, and then I decided to bend down the edges just a little bit so it gives it that rounded appearance of a light bulb base. And then to finish this one off, I'm making this one super simple. I'm just going to add in those little yellow dashes to show that the light bulb is shining. And yes, I know that my little glue dashes are nowhere, no shape, no how, even and eyeballed correctly. I'd like to say that I wasn't wearing my glasses and my stigmatism had a big part in that, but no, I was just really not great at eyeballing the little dashing lines out or making them symmetrical. Yeah, it happens. That's all I'm going to say. Besides, we're all supposed to be a little imperfect, right? If I was perfect, nobody would like me. Anyways, I'm going to glue that onto my church card base here. And then I'm going to pick out a sticker from the sticker sheet that comes in that paper pack. Just something simple. I couldn't find one that said Jesus is the light or, you know, that matched my sentiment on the other one. So I ended up using a different one for this one that says, let's see if I can read it. With God, all things are possible. I did include on the inside of this one's card the light of Jesus Christ guides you or something like that. So it does tie to the inside of the card at some point. I don't know if I show you the inside of that one at the end of this one or not. I can't remember. I'm sorry. So for my actual light up one, I did take that die and cut it out of the black cardstock. And then I'm using a piece of heavyweight vellum from Crescent Creations here for my background, or to mute my light in my background. And then I'm going to bring in a new to me, they are LED lights with wire leads. I know, fun, right? If you've watched my previous videos on making cheaper light up cards, I had talked about getting these and I hadn't used them yet, so I will use them today. I like them a lot better than the other tab ones. I just have better luck with them working because it's an actual LED lead, and so your connection is a lot easier to make. You know, it's all good. So for this one, I need to go around that light bulb. So to cheat, I'm just using some extra thick foam tape here. I was going to cut it out with the die cut. And then I realized that it's probably, when I got it over to the die cut machine, I was like, it's probably way too thick to run through and it would squish it down and then I would lose the dimension on my foam tape. So I opted to just trace it with a pen and hand cut it out. Tedious, maybe, but probably less tedious than trying to go around it with foam tape. So, I don't know. It worked. It's a step you could probably modify to fit your needs and or skill level. I don't know. I'm telling you, I was winging it. So this is me in card process mode. Like I just build as I go. So usually I could tell you a lot better ways to do it when I'm all done. It's usually how it goes. So once I have my light bulb or surrounded by some foam tape, because that will trap that little LED light inside that and not let it glow outside of it. It'll keep that light a little bit brighter underneath it. So in these LED light leads, there's like some transistor parts. I'm sure there's a use for them. I don't know what it is. I might use them in makes just for, you know, cool looking things, but I did need to figure out which side was the positive and which side was the negative. So by taking the battery and just doing the silver on the top and the copper on the bottom and figuring out which one was the positive and which one was the negative. So the copper wire in these are the positive side. So that's a very important piece to know when you are doing a light up card, because if you don't have the proper polarization on your battery to your LED light, it's not going to work. So now that I know that the copper one for these is the positive and the silver is the negative, it makes my life a little easier from here on out. If I remember. I did write it on the actual package because, yeah, I'll probably forget by the next time I need to do that. So these do have a clear coating on the wire. I did not know this when I did it to start with. Like, it was one of those, like, I played with them some more after I was done with my card. So there is a coating on the wires. So the wires can run next to each other up to wherever you're sticking it. I did not know that at this point. And so I was making sure that my positive and negative didn't touch, because if they do touch anywhere along the way, your LED light won't work. And so also it kind of had a little bit to do with, I was struggling here a little bit just because I didn't realize that it was just the ends that were, I mean, it's probably 1/4 of an inch on the end that didn't have that clear coat on it. So it's, once I figured out that, you know, I had to make sure it was in a certain spot, then I could finish doing my foam tape here. I did just make a little switch with, I think it's about a 2-inch long piece and about an 1-inch wide piece of cardstock just glued to my base there. It's just my little makeshift switch. Super easy to do, nothing too difficult. I am going to do some of that yellow glitter cardstock behind it so that when it lights up, you see that yellow glow behind it. And so I always make sure that it works all the way through constantly, because I always worry that it's not going to. And then making sure to press down that copper tape so it connects very well with whatever filament is there. And so just making sure that it's all going to go. And then I'm going to make sure that it's going to line where I want it to line up. And then once that is done, I can remove all of the backing from the foam tape. Yes, I'm going to play with it 5,000 times because I want to make sure that it's going to stay working. It's, you know, kind of like a shaker card. Got to make sure it shakes, right? Well, it's the same with a light up card. Got to make sure it's still lighting up. Sometimes I kick myself because I probably break them when I play with them as much as I do. It happens. I mean, at least I got to play with it. Yeah. So once I have all of that in there, I'm going to make sure that I have foam tape everywhere that I need foam tape. And then I will put that onto my base of that little yellow glitter cardstock. And there it lights up. So I should be good to go. So then I'm just going to take my base here. I'm going to add some glue to the back of that, stick it onto my base. And we know what I'm going to do because I did it for the last one, right? I am going to like make a little dot where I know that I need my light here to go. And then I'm going to cheat this time and not do that base piece. This one's going to be flat on there, so I didn't need to worry about rounding it, popping it up, all of the things. I could have popped it up, but this was just easier. It's enough for me of a card to, you know, say that it's a light up card. I didn't need to add extra because it's already like a double thickness of foam tape. So granted, this one's going to get handed to him, so I don't need to worry about mailing it. And I did a little tiny bit better with my little rays of light. Not a whole lot, but a little tiny bit. And then I'm going to bring in the You Charge Me Up set from Lawn Fawn for the little push button. I probably wouldn't have needed to do that. I could have just taken a little square and made it work. But, you know, I like to have the push here button. I didn't stamp the actual little square on it. I'm just going to stamp the push here. Now, I did do this in VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I maybe should have done StazOn ink because I don't let it dry enough and it probably fades a little bit, and I might have had a push here, you know, ink on my one thumb, but whatever. It's all good. So I will add this piece onto my card base where that light switch or that light is going to work. I did make it a little lower than it was supposed to be. Don't ask how I messed that one up. I just did. It's fine. He's got way bigger pork chop fingers than I have, so I'm not too worried about it. I am going to take in that Sublime, I think it's called Sublime. You Are Sublime set from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to customize my sentiment for this one. I don't have a whole lot of faith-inspired stamp sets. I have a few, but nothing that had that light word in it that I wanted. And so I made a custom sentiment. I had to sort through my sets for a while to find the You Are in the same sentiment like font style. So I think it was from that Absolutely Awesome set is where that You Are came from. And then I'm going to do this on a piece of teal cardstock from Lawn Fawn. This is Lawn Fawn's, it's in their textured cardstock pack. I don't know the color name. It's pretty though. It matches the church. I will stamp that with some VersaFine. I think I did a VersaFine Onyx Black ink on this one. I did. And I did kind of stamp off the sentiment parts that I did not want stamped. Do I do this all the time? No. But this time I decided I probably should. So You Are and light, because I did not need You Are light. I needed You Are. And because that R is the same letter count as the, it worked fine. I didn't have to muck it up too bad. So I'm going to take the from the apple of my eye and just ink the and, you know, place that in there. And I'm hoping I do it the first time the right way, and it worked. So yes, that was me doing a happy dance. Every time I, you know, piece together a sentiment and it actually works out, I'm a happy girl. And then I'm just going to cut that with a Avery Elle sentiment die. And I'm going to just tuck in the end underneath my push button there. It says You Are the Light. Yeah, and that was me trying not to push the button while it was still wet and I gave up. I'm such a kid. So it does work. It does take a little bit of strength because of the cardstock layers, but I got it to work. I think it's just because my button was off a little bit. It's a little bit lower than it's supposed to be. So if I was up a little bit, it was fine. I am going to use some 2-inch double-sided score tape to adhere onto the back of my panel here. And then I will peel this up and stick that onto my A2 top folding card base, clearing out everything off my desk so I don't accidentally stick it to it, because, you know, I tend to do that a lot. And just kind of picking off some of that dry glue because, you know, my little dots were so well placed. Yeah, I'm over it. I swear I'm over it. So I did cut a panel to 4 inches by 5 1/4 for the top part of my card here. I need to write a sweet little message on the bottom part. But this gives it a nice little border. And then I can add in that 4 by 4 inch panel that the card was actually totally based off. The Let the Light of Jesus Shine Through You. Hence the inside or the outside sentiment on that one, You Are the Light. And of course, here we go. Here we go. Yep, yep. I got it. Yep. See, I couldn't wait. And yes, I still play with it daily because, you know, it's fun. I do need to get it filled out and in an envelope and stuff. But that's besides the point. I will have a slower tutorial on those light up LED lights if you are interested. There are my finished cards. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great one. Please keep getting inky. Bye.